Good morning, Facebook land. How are you all today? I hope I'm excited about this topic, and if you've read the title, chances are you're probably thinking, what on earth is Bree about to share? Because it does not sound at all empowering, which is generally what I like to share with you. So I'm going to get right to the point, because we are at the time of year where there's a whole heap of focus on how do you want to finish up with 2017? What do you want to achieve in 2018? Let's start setting goals. And although I am a big believer in setting up goals and setting a focus and an intention, hey Maggie, a focus and an intention on the new year, it's also really important to me to share to you what I see as the stumbling blocks that a lot of women kind of fall victim to, mostly because the focus is all on one area of goal setting and it doesn't take into consideration the entire picture, which plays to part the way that your brain is processing everything that you are doing, the thoughts that you are saying to yourself, and of course our female cycle, which is a whole different kettle of fish, which I'm not going to tap into today. Gosh, there's so many of you online right now. Christine, Jackie, Kim, Maggie, hello to everybody. Anthea, awesome. I'm so glad that you're here. So I'm going to keep an eye on the feed. If you've got questions or comments, please feel free to reach out today. I am definitely up for answering questions as they come along. This is almost, without it intending to be, but it's almost going to be like a little mini workshop, because I want to give something back to you girls, and I want you to really embrace everything that a new year represents, which is fresh beginnings. But I want you to do it in a way that is also honoring you. Good morning. And hey, Sally's just jumped on as well. Okay, so traditionally speaking, when I see people talking about goal setting, I see a lot of focus on the actual, what is it that you want? Let's just focus on the desired outcome, the destination, the goal itself, the figures that you want to earn, whatever it is. We spend so much time focusing on what it is that we actually want, which if you were a man, the light's right behind me, it's kind of annoying me, there we go. If you were a man, that works really, really well. Quite often when men have clear vision or clarity around what it is that they want, they can break that down into action that continues to keep them inspired and working forward. We, as the complex creatures that we are as women, we need a little more than just identifying what it is that we want. And that is why I've created this little picture, and I'm going to walk you through it with three really key questions that I'm going to encourage you to really start exploring, knowing that this is potentially for some of you the very first time that these questions have ever even been asked. So my warning to you is to be super clear on what comes up in regards to the bullshit that you get caught up in when you're doing it, because that bullshit is the key to you either sabotaging what you want in 2018 or embracing it and moving beyond it. So before I flip my camera around, are you ready to learn my little secrets on how you can set an intention for 2018 and have it more likely accessible and achievable than if you were to just focus on basic goal setting? Are you ready? I'm not flipping the camera around until I get some kind of indication from those of you who are online right now, because I know that you're listening to me. And hello to Kerry, Tracy, Kimberly and Natalia, who have all jumped on. Lois, I can see you're on as well. Okay. Yes, there we go. Some interaction, people. I love it. Maggie, thank you, thank you. Okay, so let me turn this around. Bring it on, Sally. Awesome. Okay, I'm even going to stand up. My workspace. Listen, this is me being vulnerable right now, okay, but it might give you all a little bit of love. So that's like my tidy area. This is the rest of my workspace. And yes, you've just got a preview of something new that's coming as well. I'll talk about that in a sec. Okay, so this is the little model that I wanted to work through, this little diagram. Okay, you will see on your page right now, and please, can you just let me know, are you seeing this reading the right way? I'm going to explain what it all means in a sec, so hang with me. Okay. There are 3 circles here, and there are 3 key areas that I consider really important when it comes to setting an intention for a new year. Awesome, Sally, thank you for that. Okay, the number one focus that a lot of people focus on is this box here. What do you want? And yes, it is super important. We need to have clarity around what it is that we even want for ourselves, because without having clarity, without knowing where you're going, you have no marking points of even knowing whether or not you're still on track or whether you've diverted. And the key to intention setting and goal setting, of course, is to actually have an outcome or a destination in mind. So the first question that you're going to ask yourself is a very common masculine-minded kind of question of, what do you want? Okay? Think big when it comes to this. Dream big, write it all down. It doesn't matter right now how you're going to do it or why you want to do it. I just want to know what it is that you want. So please revisit this video and make notes if you've got a pen and paper handy. Okay, when you are clear on what it is that you actually want, there's a second area that needs just as much as consideration, and this is down here. And this is what is important to you. There's a bit of a shadow. Okay. This is the key space that I see a lot of women forget about. We don't put a lot of emphasis on why what we want is important to us and whether or not what we want is in alignment with what is important to us. Now let me flip the camera around a sec. Let me explain that. Let's say family and quality family time with real connection is something that is really important to you. It's in fact probably the priority for you. Above everything else in the world, family might be the number one thing for you. So when you are asking yourself, what is important to me? Family comes up first. Awesome. Now, that's what's important to you, but what you want is to increase your income by $100,000 next year, which also means that as a result, or in order to achieve what you want, it's going to require 50-hour weeks, long nights, big days, and time away from your family. Now, as a woman, what do you think is going to happen if what you want is to increase your income by $100,000 a year, but what is important to you is good quality connecting family time? You're going to create a conflict between those two areas of this entire intention that you're setting. So what happens is at the beginning of the year, you start up all revved up and go, yeah, I'm going to increase my income by 100K this year. And when I do, I'm going to have more money to invest in my kids. I'm going to be able to give my kids more opportunities. I'm going to be able to send them to the best schools. I'm going to have the best healthcare, whatever it is. You can justify all of the logical reasons why an extra 100K in the bank might be helpful, but it does not take into consideration the stress that it puts on you, because that target, that goal, is not in alignment with what is most important to you, which in this example is family. And so a few weeks, maybe if you're lucky a couple of months into the year, what happens is you start to feel this internal conflict that sabotages the goal of an extra 100K a year, and then you fall into the excuses of, oh, well, I don't really need $100,000 a year anyway, because really what's important to me is my family. So, we're doing okay. We're making ends meet. We're cruising along all right, as long as the family's okay. So we start to justify why we haven't achieved what we set out to achieve by validating what's important to us. So you can see here why it is so important that we firstly know what we want. Secondly, what is important to us, because when we have both of these talking to each other, what happens is we get alignment of action. Okay, the actioning of a goal is just as important as the achieving of the goal, because we want to have harmony in everything that we do when it comes to actually making something a reality for ourselves. If this makes sense, I'm not going to move on until I have questions. So if anyone has any questions on this, or if it's making sense, please give me some indication, because it's really, really important. And this, in fact, is a key area of Only BS, the 9-week online course that I offer, because BS starts through inner conflict. So you have to know what is important to you, and it goes so much deeper than just identifying it. But this exercise alone is going to give you some framework of setting up a good, solid intention for 2018. And ultimately, we do want alignment of action. You know how people in business, you know that you're working with someone that really loves what they do because they don't feel like they go to work. This is why I spend so much of my time doing what I love, because my business, the concept of Only BS and emotional detox and working with women through Facebook, is in alignment with with a quality that is really important to me, which is to make an impact on women's lives. It's also in alignment with my family value because it gives me the flexibility and the freedom to commit time to my kids and also time to me through this business. Hey, Semi and Christina, thank you for that, darling. So alignment of action is only going to happen when you have alignment between what you want and what is important to you. Super, super important. Now, there's another circle. Let me come back down here. What are you telling yourself? You knew head talk was going to come into this, girls, because I am the head talk queen. So when you start to think about what you want, what is important to you, what are you telling yourself? What are the excuses that you're already creating? What are the limitations that you're already putting on yourself? What are the positive thoughts that you have in regards to this? Start listing everything down. What are you telling yourself? This is ownership in its core. And if you have negative stories that you keep buying into, then chances are, my beautiful friend, you are needing Own Your BS, because the focus of Own Your BS is to help you to break down what you are telling yourself so that it does not take, or, put its claws in and take you away from experiencing the life that you want for yourself. So in the example of $100,000 goal, what is important to you, family? What are you telling yourself? How are you justifying the $100,000 for starts? Is it just logical, rational thinking? Or is it, if I earn an extra $100,000 a year, I'm going to be able to provide better healthcare for my children. I'm going to be able to give them better education options. Therefore, that story that you're telling yourself is supportive of this. And family. What am I telling myself about family? Yes, it's a short-term sacrifice because I'm going to do extra hours, but when I do it, I'm going to have so much more freedom and flexibility. Yes, that lines up and it's all a nice cohesive circle. But if the stories are negative, we've just got sabotage thrown over here. What do you want? I need $100,000 because I don't like being broke, because I don't like being stuck in the cycle that I'm in, because I don't want. If you've got a negative thought around what you want, that negative thought, my friends, needs to be addressed. Otherwise, that thought is going to dictate whether or not what you want becomes your reality. Likewise with what is important to you. What are you telling yourself in regards to what is important to you? Now, a negative example of this in my example of family being important is, family should be my number one priority because I'm a mum and that is just the way that it is. Now, not to say that's negative, but it is limiting. Because yes, you are a mum. Yes, we chose to have families. But if the family priority is number one because you feel a sense of obligation that it should be number one, then that sense of obligation is going to feed into a very negative charge that's going to end up in resentment and guilt and shame and all of the rest of it. So we want to make sure that what is important to us is supported by strong, positive, aligned belief systems and neutral or positive emotional charges. Okay, that's rather deep. So if it's not making sense, please ask a question. I'm more than happy to explore that a little deeper. If it's starting to trigger a few aha moments, or maybe even trigger you in a way that doesn't feel so comfortable, sweetie, that might be an indication that your intuition, that gut space that tells you where you need to be going, is wanting and crying out for more help. And the charge that you're experiencing can be addressed and released in Own Your BS. I have zero doubts about it. I know it for a fact because I've seen it in my own life and I see it through my clients' lives. When you have confidence to explore what is really going on in your head in regards to the emotional ties and the beliefs about those thoughts, and you take control to neutralize the stuff that doesn't serve you, you are going to feel more empowered. And then the whole picture changes. So, flipping back around, when we know what is important to you and you know what you are telling yourself, and again, they are both in congruency with one another, guess what happens? You have conviction for action. No excuse is going to get in the way of you achieving what is important to you and what you want if you have positive, supportive head talk for it. Simple, isn't it? Sounds simple anyway. Just got to remember that we're a little more complex than that because we have those bloody things called emotions that tie everything together. But you can see through this example, when we know what's important to us and we know what we are telling ourselves, we have all of the validation and the reasons for why we are doing what we're doing, so that if you have a negative Nelly in your life who comes up and questions your motives and your actions, You don't even need to start justifying to her or convincing her why you're doing what you're doing, because you already know. You know that it lines up with what's important to you, and you know your stories. Now, the last piece of the puzzle, what you are telling yourself and what you want. When you know that what you're telling yourself is supporting what it is that you want, you are going to find yourself with a much clearer pathway for action. And a clearer pathway for action means less procrastination, less overwhelm, less second guessing, less doubting yourself, less feeling insecure, and more confidence, more clarity, and more action. So that is my little formula, my gift to you in this season of setting intentions and goals for 2018. I'm going to encourage you to explore those 3 areas of everything that you set yourself, knowing that this is just the surface. Okay, it is likely that when you start doing exercises like this, you are going to start recognizing and becoming aware of all of those little negative thoughts in your head that keep getting in the way. Once you know that, you still have a choice. You can choose to allow those thoughts to dictate your actions and your results, or you can do something about it. My friend, that is, I don't know why I keep calling everyone my friend today. That's like really random because I don't use that. My friends. You are all my friends though. But that is key to you owning your BS, okay? Registrations for that program are open now. Now, let me tell you a little bit on your BS, because I haven't shared a great deal of information about this program on a Facebook Live before. It is a 9-week online course that every participant has access to for life. It does not have an expiry date. So a one-time investment means you have access to every strategy, every skill that I know for all of life. Knowing that in 6 months' time, you're probably going to want to revisit it again because life continues to happen. Over the 9 weeks, we start breaking down the thoughts that you are saying to yourselves to the real cause of where they are coming from. I'm going to help you to understand your female factor a lot more. I'm going to help you to align your hormone cycles with your actions. How many times have you felt completely void of all energy, but you push through because that's what you think is expected from you, instead of just being able to recognize that at some times of the month you need to take it easier? Now, that's not to say you have an excuse card to not do anything. It just means that sometimes of the month you're going to be really good at some things, like creative moments, and at other times of the month you're going to be more suitable for action-driven things. Sometimes you're going to be better for communication, and other times you just need to steer clear of communication and do the inner work for you. Knowing what your cycle looks like for you is key to living life in more honor of you as a woman. So we go through that in Own Your BS. I give you the scripts and the play-by-plays of every single strategy that I work with a client, and also that I've worked with within my family. My secret desire for Own Your BS was to put it into as many women's hands as I possibly could, knowing that they would then go out and start teaching the skills and strategies to the people in their lives. My goal is to have at least 1,500 women go through Own Your BS in 2018. There you go, I've just said that. I'm owning it now. 1,500 women to go through Own Your BS in 2018. Now, the ripple effect from this is that by my sort of crazy mathematical skills, of those 1,500, I'm going to bet that even if those 1,500 women only teach 2 people each a skill, a single strategy, a single piece of advice from Own Your BS, that is 4,500 people that now have some form of empowerment to get out of negative head talk and get back to a space of emotional control. That excites the living crap out of me, particularly when I think that some of those 4,500 people could be kids. There are too many kids that are struggling because mum is struggling because neither of them know what to do with negative head talk and thoughts and feelings. That's why we've got Own Your BS. So registration is available. I offer a one-time payment, a 3-monthly payment, or a 6-monthly payment. All the information is available on the website. The investment for you is 497 Australian dollars. For a lifetime investment of skills and strategies that puts you in a place of complete empowerment, I know that it can help you, and I know that it's going to be the greatest gift that you can give to yourself and to those people that you love. So I will link I will pop a link to the course so that you can check it out in more detail. If you want to have a conversation with me about what that actually looks like, please reach out. This is the time for you to set your intentions and to set the theme for 2018. We can get caught in excuse, or we can start taking back our power. Ultimately, the decision lies with you. So that's my little lesson for today. It's a rather impromptu lesson, but I hope that it has been of value. Please save this video, share the video, rewatch the video. Start asking yourself those 3 key questions when it comes to setting an intention for 2018. Firstly, know what it is that you actually want. Get clear on what you want for yourself, for your family, for your business, for every aspect in your life, remembering that you are multidimensional. There is never just one thing that you want. Secondly, what is important to you? Start creating some clarity around what is important to you and ask yourself, does the actioning of what I want align with what's important to me, or is it going to put me into a space of conflict? Lastly, what are you telling yourself? It all comes down to the stories that you tell yourself, knowing that the stories either provide evidence for why you can have what you want, or they provide the excuses for why you can't. So start to get clear on what you're saying to yourself when you're doing these exercises. And if you want to know more about how you can clear that crap with in-the-moment strategies for emotional control, then check out Own Your BS, the 9-week program. I will be guiding a group through that program in January. So register now, start playing around with it, and know that from the second week of January, from January 8th, I will guide the entire group through the whole 9-week course with weekly contact via our secret Facebook group. It's a super cool community. So have an amazing week. Yes, it's only Tuesday. Have an amazing last week before Christmas. Be mindful of what you're setting the intentions for 2018. Enjoy your family time. Enjoy your you time. And if you need anything at all, please, please, please feel free to reach out. I am here to support you in whatever way I can. Mwah! Love to you all. Bye.